Welcome to GoalLine FC, and today we're revealing our picks for the top 10 most shocking moments in the World Cup 2022. For this list, we're looking at some of the most shocking, jaw-dropping and most controversial moments at FIFA's illustrious tournament, with the latest instalment already being regarded as the greatest in history. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell for our latest videos. Another group stage Alfita saying, the German football team is an ideal representation of football royalty. They'd been in the World Cup final 8 times and have been world champions 4 times. Well, the Germans were kind of football royalty till 2014, their last World Cup triumph. In 2018, they suffered the champions' curse, not qualifying from the group stage with a single win. After this disgrace, the German FA went into question mode, which led to Joachim Low leaving the manager's position. Hansi Flick replaced him and got the national team on track. Sort of. Flowing with world-class talents, the Germans were ready to stake their claim, but the tournament had other ideas. The first whammy sign for the German team came from their shock defeat to Japan. Next, they drew with Spain and then defeated Costa Rica. The Germans' win against Costa Rica was a bittersweet moment. They had not qualified from their World Cup group stage for the second time in a row. It was the second time an Asian team influenced Germany's elimination from the competition. For Germany, it was twice beaten, twice shy. Argentina's Arabic nightmare. Coming into the World Cup tournament, Argentina was arguably the most informed team. They won the Copa America and the Finalissima, while protecting a 36-game unbeaten streak. Their opening World Cup match was against Saudi Arabia, one of the lowest ranked teams at the Qatari tournament. It was 3rd versus 51st. The match started as we expect, with Argentina taking the lead early on. Then their house of cards came crashing down in the second half. Salah Al-Ashari received a piercing pass from Al-Balakan before diving his shot into the bottom corner for the equaliser. Saudi's second goal was even more special as Al-Jazari steadies himself to score a sublime curler after a set-piece situation. Saudi Arabia put in the best second-half performance in the World Cup, scoring 2 goals in 5 minutes and holding on till the end to end the game 2-1. Saudi Arabia's win over Argentina was the biggest upset in the tournament's history, with the country declaring a national holiday to celebrate the victory. African dancing over the samba beat. Before the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, no African team had beaten Brazil at the World Cup. The game between Cameroon and Brazil started as you expect, with Brazil dominating possession and creating all the chances in the world. They didn't take any of it, and in the most disruptive fashion, Vincent Aboubakar gave Cameroon the lead with a precise header. He was sent off after his goal thanks to his zealous celebration. If you ask me, that's a royal way to leave the pitch. Despite their heroics, Cameroon failed to qualify, finishing 3rd in the group. The Battle of Lusail. Argentina versus Netherlands was the perfect advertisement for football, and boy was it a battle. It was a military skirmish with feisty tackles, shoves and sometimes breathtaking football. The game had everything, including a last-minute equaliser. Only in this game did a last-minute equaliser seem more dramatic than usual. Argentina was coasting away with a 2-0 win until the 80th minute, when everything changed following a Wagos goal. It became the most violent game in World Cup history as 16 yellow cards were issued. The first coming in the 43rd minute, 1 red card was also issued at the end of the game. It overshadowed the game of tactics the match was, but the best was yet to come. In the last minute of extra time, Netherlands won a free kick deep in the Argentinian final third. In the coolest manner, Koopmeiners laid the ball adjacent to the wall, creating a clear path to goal for Wout Weghorst. At the end of a record-breaking mix of nasty fouls, disruptive play acting and a card rush hour, it showed that calm heads always prevail in the beautiful game. Serbia v Cameroon. In 2022, Cameroon was making its 8th appearance at the World Cup stage, where they were in a tough group. After an opening day loss to Switzerland, Cameroon was up against it as they faced Serbia next. The game started as well as it could, with Cameroon taking the lead in the first half. Then the game turned on its head with Serbia going 3-1 up. In the most improbable ways, Cameroon came crawling back. First, Cameroon's Vincent Akaba found himself in acres of space following a perfectly timed run. He showed composure, dinking the ball over Milinkovic for what is probably the coolest goal of the tournament following a dreadful defensive highline by the Serbs. The Serbs stayed loyal to its highline and conceded a sublime equaliser 2 minutes later, tying the game at 3-3. The game ended as a draw, but I doubt the Serbs were considering keeping a highline again. The Giant Slayers, Morocco's heroic World Cup journey. For the 2022 World Cup, Morocco came in pretty fine form. They've been unbeaten since March with a pretty stellar defence form. Morocco's impeccable form did little to prepare us for the heroic showing in the World Cup. In its run as the first African country to reach the World Cup semi-final, they defeated Canada along with the European giants Belgium, Spain and Portugal before falling to the French at the final hurdle. Before the battle with France, they only conceded a sole own goal in the tournament. Few people would have backed Morocco at the start of the tournament, and they certainly won lots of hearts along the way. Vlahovic had enough. Dusan Vlahovic, Serbia's striker, scored the second goal against the Swiss, which was his first in the tournament. Rather than being remembered for this career milestone, something else came to mind when he celebrated his goal by clutching his groin while looking straight into the crowd. He then puts his finger across his lips. His celebration could be his way of replying to lots of controversies involving the player and his teammate's wife. For some reason, rumours of an affair with his teammate's wife was in circulation. Serbia went on to lose the game, but Vlahovic had passed his message in the most unconventional way. Costa's close call. Portugal's opener against Ghana was an ideal tale of two halves. The game started slowly as its pace gradually increased. Perhaps the most heart-racing part of the match was Diogo Costa's goal kick moment. After coming in to the rescue from a Ghanaian cross, he placed the ball on the ground ready to send it upfield. But Inaki Williams had other ideas. Hiding behind Costa, he tried to tap the ball into an empty net. Luckily for Portugal, Williams dummied himself as well, slipping up as he tried to pull the trigger for the final kick in the game. The reaction on the Portuguese bench wasn't warning enough for Costa apparently. Mexican magic not enough. In football, you need moments of magic and endless surprises. Sometimes it comes across as a dribble, other times as sensational crossings, and others as powerful shots. For Mexico's Luis Chavez, it came as raw power and precision. In Mexico's match against Saudi Arabia, Chavez went on a free kick rampage. Placing the ball 29 metres away from the goal, Chavez curled a spectacular free kick, travelling at 121.69 kilometres an hour. For some context, that's a typical speed of a cheetah running. There's no goalkeeper keeping this stunner out. Thanks to measuring technology in the ball, Chavez's shot was crowned as the fastest travelling shot in the tournament. Unfortunately, his rocket wasn't enough for Mexico to reach the last 16, as Saudi Arabia scored a dramatic late goal to knock Mexico out of the group stage for the first time since 1978. Finally, the greatest game's greatest game. At the 2022 World Cup, the France vs Argentina game was a perfect example of saving the best for last. It was dubbed the Messi and Mbappe show by many, and for the right reasons too. Both players were in sublime form, and boy was it a battle. Wearing their country's badge proudly, both teams marched out to an enthralling game. The game started with Argentina in full control, scoring 2 goals in the first half. Lionel Messi opened the scoring from a penalty spot after a foul on Di Maria. A few minutes later, Di Maria doubled the Argentines' lead. But that wasn't the only story of the half. The French team did not manage a single attempt at goal and seemed lethargic and off the game's pace. In fact, they did not have a touch in Argentina's box. Pretty lacklustre for world champions, if you ask me. Giroud and Dembele were substituted in the half as the French sought inspiration from their 2018 campaign. As we have learnt in football, 2-0 is a very dangerous lead, and it proved to be once again. France crawled back into the game with a perfectly placed penalty by Mbappe after a foul on Muani. Next, in a picture-perfect moment, Mbappe volleyed an attempt towards goal, levelling up the score. From the jaws of defeat, the champions were in the perfect position to keep their title for a little longer. We were on to extra time. Just like the first half, extra time was a slow burner, with both teams reeling from the thrills of the game. The Argentine players were still visibly shocked after Mbappe's equaliser, while the French players looked to gather themselves for one last surge. In the second half of extra time, the game reignited once again. Lionel Messi gave the Argentines the lead once again before Mbappe replied with an equaliser. Argentina won the game on penalties, but France definitely put up a fight. What was probably the most nonchalant World Cup performance had suddenly become the best final in recent memory. Both teams had etched their names in football immortality, with Messi finally getting his hands on the game's most illustrious prize. It will be ages before we see a colossal jaw-dropping moments like this ever again. But with the beautiful game, you will never know. Did you enjoy this video? Which World Cup moment sticks to your mind the most? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe to keep an eye out for our latest videos. Until next time.